Well, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. I want to give you the latest information on Tropical Storm Debby. And we are tracking the potential for a potentially historic storm in terms of rainfall. So I'll talk about that in just a moment. But if you're just joining us this morning, we have several new updates as to alerts in the track of also Debby. So let me show you our new alerts that we have in effect. And one of them is a storm surge watch. There it is right there. You can see on our alert map that's in effect for most of our coast. And as a result, that means in those areas that are prone to storm surge flooding, we could see potentially life-threatening flooding with 2 to 4 feet of water above the normal tide. And that's likely occurring during high tide, which will have several cycles to deal with that because the system will be stalled over us. So storm surge watch, there it is in effect for most of our coast. Another alert that we have, and let me show you that right here, and that is a tropical storm watch, and that is in effect for most of our area. And that's in effect until further notice. We do have the potential to see tropical storm force winds of around 35 to 45 miles per hour, with locally higher gusts possible. And that could arrive as early as tomorrow and continue through Thursday morning. So we are watching the potential for some strong wind. But as I mentioned on air and right now, biggest threat with this system will be flooding. We have to watch that closely. Don't leave the name tropical storm and think that nothing is happening with it, because this could be a potentially historic tropical system with perhaps 1 to 2 feet of rain for some of us. So flood watch is in effect from Monday morning through Friday morning. And let me show you the system that we have right now. Now remember, the category system only takes into account the wind speed, but the threat with the system will be flooding. That's the highest threat with any tropical system. In fact, we already have our first tornado warning in effect for Florida. And let me zoom in here on radar. This is a very large system. Bands of moisture extend from the center all the way down to Cuba. And one threat we'll be looking at locally here is the potential for tornadoes. And you can see that tornado warning near Port Charlotte, near the Fort Myers area, Sarasota. But basically, this system will make landfall over the Big Bend of Florida by tomorrow and eventually move into our area as we head into late Monday through at least Thursday. So locally right now we do have some rain that is not in association with Debby, but we will be tracking the potential. Let me show you the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. Winds of 60 miles per hour now. So that is an upgrade from the 5 a.m. advisory, and we're noticing some strengthening. This storm is what we call elongated. Most of the moisture is on the right side of the center, but this should become a little bit more organized prior to making landfall over the Big Bend of Florida at some point tomorrow afternoon, as I mentioned. And eventually this has its sight on the low country. So there's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. Slows down significantly starting Tuesday all the way through Friday. By Friday, this should be lifting out of here, but between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that's when we're expecting the worst or the highest impact from the system, and that flood threat will continue to build each day as we continue to add water to our area. Let me show you Future Tracker. This is really starting to pick up on the system well now. If you have any plans that you need to make with any preparations outdoors, you need to go shopping, through at least Monday lunchtime, the weather should be fine. But as we head into the afternoon, we'll start to see the outer rain bands in association with Debby move onshore. And what that means is we'll start to see conditions deteriorate, especially late Monday into Tuesday. Watch what happens here by midnight into Tuesday morning. The heaviest of the rain starts to move in, and it just basically stays over the same locations for a prolonged period of time. And that is why the flooding threat is so high with the system. Even though it's a tropical storm, again, I want to emphasize that flooding, we could see potentially life-threatening flash flooding with this system. You do not want to take that lightly, as we are expecting several days of moderate to even heavy rain. So we are giving you the first alert to that. Also, we'll have to notice that onshore flow with bands of moisture. We do have that threat for tornadoes. We typically see quick spin-ups like we saw in Florida this morning there on radar. But watch what happens here as we go into Tuesday night. More of the same. This model only goes out to early Wednesday morning, but you see days of repeated heavy rainfall for our area. Here's the latest update with rainfall totals. I have increased them again this morning. Generally west of 95, we are expecting the potential for up to 10 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. East of 95, most of our area, we are expecting the potential for 10 to even 20 inches of rain. And I'm not ruling out isolated totals up to 2 feet of rain or more, depending on where the heaviest of the rain will set up. So I do want to give you the first alert. Our flood outlook, this is issued each day by the Weather Prediction Center. And what they're noticing is that we have a high risk for flash flooding, a rare risk level 4 during the day on Tuesday. That's when we really start to see that heavy rain, as I mentioned, that we're looking at. So you definitely want to stay tuned to the forecast and stay with the Live 5 weather app. The biggest threat with the system is not the wind, it's the rain, because the system is stalling right over us. So heavy rain and flooding, two of the highest threats: coastal flooding, storm surge, and widespread flash flooding. Damaging winds, we could see the tree roots loosen, especially as the ground gets very wet. That could lead to downed trees, and then that tornado threat on the lower end of the scale, but I'm not ruling out really at any point starting Tuesday, even late Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, some embedded rotation with these bands that move on shore, and that could prompt tornado warnings in a short amount of time. So you want to make sure you have a way of getting alerts throughout the upcoming week. 7-day forecast shows that we do have that first alert weather day up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to account for the threat. So we will keep you updated, but we have several new alerts as of this morning. We do have that storm surge watch, we have a tropical storm watch, and now a flood watch. And of course, you can get all of that information on the Live 5 weather app. Again, tropical storm force winds are possible, where we could see between 35 to 45 miles per hour with our winds. And then again, the flooding threat is there with terms of storm surge and also flash flooding with rain coming down very quickly. So I'll leave you right now with the last look at Debby as of 8 o'clock this morning, still impacting Florida. I'll be back at 11 o'clock with another update as we have a new cone that'll be issued. But for now, we'll leave you with a look at Debby. Stay safe.